As a resident, I am already experiencing the negative impact of odor and air quality. This negative impact is coming merely from one and/or two waste developers thus far. Southgate Township has shown little, if any, interest in protecting residents and hearing their concerns. Residents also have had very little help from the MOE and are told to contact the company directly. I have done so on more than one occasion with zero response from the company. Southgate Township has not provided any long-term reviews of emissions, odor, truck traffic, potential adverse health effects, or outcome of increased waste volume.
About this bad smell, I've heard people around town complain about it causing headaches and all sorts of other allergies and things like that. Back in February, there was one day it was really bad over at the school. My 4-year-old boy, my wife had to be called to school because he was ill when he was outside. When he got back inside, he was fine after an hour or so. I asked him that night, "What made you sick?" He said, "Daddy, it's the bad smell outside, like the compost bin." Shortly after that, Charlie got really sick. We took him to Markdale Hospital. They said just monitor him. We took him down to Orangeville. He was kept in there for 10 days. Nothing is worth having my wife call me. The one day when I was in a hospital with him, barely moving, at 4 years old, and saying, "I can't wash his clothes because I'll take his smell away. And what if he doesn't come home?" Now, I can't prove that this is because of this bad smell. And some days they've had the kids pulled inside from the school because of this bad smell. 2 weeks ago on Friday, I dropped them off at school, both my boys. It was a stink. I called the MOE, all they got was an answer machine. Big deal. I know what he's going to tell me. Go talk to Listec. They'll say, "It's not us." A stink is a stink, and it was there. But like I say, I can't prove that that was the smell. Can you prove to me that it's not causing that? Because would you want one of your children or grandchildren to be lying in that hospital or maybe not coming home at all? I came here tonight. I'm going to go home now because I want to spend time with my children while I can. So please, just think about this before you go and let them put more stuff there, because all that's going to happen is if there's two plants there, they're going to point the finger at each other.
I understand that people are already suffering during the day, and sometimes even more at night, from foul odors that are drifting across the town. Council members have been advised on many occasions about the well-founded fears for the health of children, adults, and elderly members of the community in such close proximity to large-scale industrial waste processes that will liberate many volatile and particulate forms of organic and inorganic chemicals into the environment. These operations are not being policed, and they can't be policed. Council members haven't received all the information, I don't think, about the emissions from the dispersion stacks on the Listec operation, for example. Just after I became aware of the agreements that Council had made with Listec, I wrote to Listec in an email. I asked them if they had measured the organic and inorganic chemicals and particulate matter coming out of the dispersion stacks. And I asked them if they had measured it, would they send me the quantities of these substances released in 100,000 tons of sewage? The answer I received was peculiar, because the answer was, who am I and who am I affiliated with? I told them who I was. I said, I'm a citizen of that township. And you don't have to worry about sending me the information, because I can understand anything that you have. I never received the answers to the questions I asked. If they had known the answers to those questions, they would have been proud to give me those answers and to advertise them widely. I don't believe they have made any measurements. They could have done so, but there's no evidence that they have ever done that. They have reported estimates, but estimates are usually, if they're made by companies, they're biased in favor of those companies. So it really is peculiar to me that they didn't have those answers. Why would you build dispersion stacks if all you're going to process through those stacks is some fumes from a diesel truck? That's what I've been told, that they're dispersing through the stacks. You don't have to do that. Why would you put a type of filter in the stacks that's supposed to remove chemicals, and does it? We don't know. So there's some major issues in policing these companies, and that's just one company. If you open up the eco park to a number of these waste operations, you cannot possibly determine the outcome in the future, nor the accumulating effect that occurs over time. You need to be listening to the citizens rather than pushing ahead with zoning changes that will compound the problem in the eco park. This community is filled with intelligent, honest, and hardworking people. They're perfectly capable of understanding what constitutes clean and dirty industries and what is good for the community and is not. Council should not make changes that are opposed by so many people. You need to respect the people and their views.
Management theorists talk about an idea called path dependency. And path dependency is one of the big flaws that takes place in plans that go badly wrong, which I think many people in this room would say is where we are right now. Now, it's not necessarily that you're a bad person to find yourself in the trap of path dependency. There was nothing to say she was an evil old lady. She was just an old lady that swallowed a fly. But after she swallowed the fly, she found herself in some trouble, right? And, so somebody somewhere along the way got the idea that it'd be a good idea to fill this town with waste from other communities. Now, that was one heck of a fly. But then, after that decision was struck, there was probably some glimmer of awareness that maybe the people of this community would think that was a really dumb idea. So then the operation went covert, didn't it? In 2009, the announcement of this zoning that was described earlier as an error in the zoning because it didn't include waste processing, well, the announcement of that zoning meeting, the process around it, never mentioned waste. So it's only an error in the eyes of people who thought that waste was a good idea in the first place. And I dare say that's not the majority of the people in this room. So when things went covert, when this went underground, when it became a matter of secrecy, when the Economic Development Committee decided to A, not publicize when and where they were meeting, or B, keep their minutes so the public could see what was going on. When the council and the Economic Development Committee started negotiating illegally, in secret, with waste developers, in violation of the Municipal Act, well then the old lady swallowed a spider, and it's been wiggling inside her ever since. So, another piece of folk wisdom. When you find yourself digging a hole, the first thing to do is stop digging. The second thing to do is go find a ladder. This bylaw could be your ladder. Thank you very much.